And the question is, hold on, before time is being kept. The question is, did segregation do more harm?
That was not the question. Integration.
Okay. So did integration harm or help Black people?
That's a point to V, by the way.
I'm arguing that it was more harmful, and my quote-unquote opponent, if that's what he wants to call himself today, is going to be arguing that it was more helpful. I'm ready whenever you are, Taj. So let's start with the issue with segregation before we get to integration was the lack of equality of access to resources and funding. That was something that was very clear and evident of what was holding our people back when we were segregated. Then integration normalized the idea that quote unquote white is right and that you can only succeed because of white people. So today I want to touch on two main reasons that integration, well, two main parts of this world, the Black community, that integration was harmful for us. Number one is education. When we were integrated into the classroom, the representation in the classroom went down. After the Brown versus Board of Education, only students were forced to integrate into the classroom. However, faculty was forced to be unemployed because they were all fired because they were quote unquote considered unqualified to teach at these integrated schools, even though when we were segregated, Black students were reading with a comprehension level of 85 to 90%. However, after integration, it dropped significantly to 32 to 35% and has not been able to come back or recover since. And you may ask yourself, why is this possible? Because when Black students were getting taught by Black teachers, those teachers had expectations of them. When they got integrated into white schools, white teachers had no expectation of them at all. And they also held them back from going into AP classes, into honors classes, and they completely ignored the Black need. Then you have the cultural bias that happened when Black students went into integrated places. I'll stop.
That was good, V. I like it.
I like how my opponent talked about schooling and education because that's very important. But let's talk about the poverty line. Let's talk about how the poverty line was at 35% before the whole segregation thing, but right after it changed to about 20%, right? And let's talk about how segregation, the leading cause for segregation were Jim Crow laws. So let's talk about Jim Crow. Let's talk about right after slavery, when things were integrated, how Jim Crow's main mission was to segregate the people so they can point us out and they can attack us. Let's talk about how every single time the Black man has tried to galvanize himself, and we did a few times, to rise above the poverty line and start our own businesses and to get our own, massacres happen. We could talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921. We could talk about 1919 when my farmers tried to get together and said, listen, we're going to in turn start a union to get better wages and everything like that. Burned them all. So what I'm saying is what we need to do is integrate, get our white allies, and then we all can rise together. As my man Martin Luther King said, he said, I have a dream that one day the white girls, the Black boys, they can all get together and we can rise above all of the foolishness. So for me, I feel like integration helped us because it gave us more opportunities. I believe that our TalkHvy member, Scott, said that laws give more accessibility and resources and opportunity to our people. Now, you said that earlier in this podcast, and it made me think, right? Well, if you change segregation into integration, that allows more opportunities for our Black men and women, because we understand that it wasn't separate but equal, but it was separate and equal. So those opportunities that we got, we took, and we gained more money from that.
All right.
Sorry,
a
I
great
forgot I was
round.
on mute. I was asking, is it my turn?
Yeah, that was incredible. I like the round, man. I like the energy, the research, all of that. Y'all coming strong.
30 more seconds. Let's go.
30, I get a minute.
Yeah, she it's a minute.
I get a minute. What are you talking about?
That's you know, for 11 years.
Got a minute.
All right, boom. So I'm very glad that my opponent here brought up the Tulsa, Oklahoma, and all of the massacres, because all of those occurred due to integration. When you look at the Chicago massacre that happened in 1919, it was because Black people were moving from the East to the West, and Chicago is in Middle America, and in Chicago, they were not segregating Blacks from whites. White people did not want to be integrated with Black people, which put them in dangerous situations. You look at Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you look at all of the other cities that dealt with Black due to Black people building wealth by quote unquote trying to integrate with the white man. So yes, integration is what held us back from being able to push forward when we were building wealth for ourselves. Then you also have a statistic that shows that the Black dollar is only able to rotate within the Black community one time compared to.
All right, give me a second. One more minute.
Well, I like how you brought that up. It was false. I like how you like to bring up that it happened due to integration, but we're talking about legal integration. We're talking about 1964 when segregation was banned. Now, if we're talking about that, if we're talking about the actual integration of Black people and white people, then all of those massacres happened pre-integration, and they happened under Jim Crow, which caused segregation. Now the question is that I must ask the panel. The question is, did integration help or hurt? And I'm saying it helped us because now everybody can look at what we can do given the same opportunities as our white counterparts. And I think that we flourish pretty well.
I'd like to request a 30.
You'd like to request what?
30 seconds.
Judges, how do we feel about her extra 30 seconds?
I vote yeah.
Yeah, I think they need us 30.
Y'all some suckers.
I feel like Scoop trying to spin me, so I'm not sure. I want to hear what the rebuttal is.
Y'all some suckers. All right, 30 more seconds.
We talking fake integration or we talking law being
Hey, Dr. Scoop King.
Hey, Doc.
Calm down. Go, Venice.
So the definition of integration is the action or process of integrating, correct? So in 1919, when that happened in Chicago, they were integrating because Black people were integrating with white people. Only the East Coast was the ones that were segregating at that time. So you were talking about after the laws. I was talking about physical integration. And regardless of all of that, the white man has been trying to make the Black people dependent on their dollar ever since integration started.
Scoop?
I'm waiting for 30. So me under the impression of, has integration hurt or helped the Black community? I would say legally, integration throughout the whole country. Yes, there are states that do different things, but we're talking about America as a whole, and we're talking about Black America. So what I'll do is I'll talk about the points that helps the argument of Black America integrating with white America. And the point still stands. These arguments and these massacres happen pre-integration.
All right, I feel like we gotta go Todd, Scott, and me.
Okay, I'll go first.
All right.
So that was a very good court. First of all, let me start off by saying I appreciate the research that was done on both parties. Not only do I appreciate the research that was done on both parties, I really appreciate the picture of Dr. Martin Luther King. And with that being said, I'm just going to be honest with you. Court is all about who can argue their side better. And I just have to go to the side that argued it better in my mind. And that side is Scoop Burgundy. And with that being
Appreciate
said, I'm going to hand it over to Scott.
Oh, thank you. I feel like a lot of the things that was talked about was history, which is important. But I feel like what was missing a little bit was today, talking about how segregation applies today, especially in the school systems. And I heard V speak about how integrated schools versus segregated schools, but today a lot of schools are actually segregated, de facto, but segregated nonetheless. And that has a lot of adverse effects on the education. That's proven. This is proven through studies and things of that nature. So I wish that one of y'all would have touched more on that, because that's very important to me. But Scoop, you talked about Tulsa in 1919 and 1964, and I'm assuming Brown versus the education as well. And those things really fucked up Black community bad, fucked us up real bad. Those led to a lot of different issues that we still see today. And I think V, you definitely outlined a lot of those issues, and I feel like V, you get the W, and you smoking your ass up, Scoop. You know what I mean?
All right.
She definitely was putting you, put you in that blunt and smoked you, and that's it. And that's that.
smoked me? Jeez.
He
Ball is
smoked
in your
you.
court.
Can I just say something to clarify?
Mhm.
Scotty, I did say that the comprehension levels of of Black students has not recovered since integration, just to clarify. But
Yeah, I got you.
I did
But I'm
say
saying
that.
that even though integration was supposedly supposed to happen, we still have
Right.
segregation in a lot of different areas in this country. And it's different in schools and school districts alike, through through many different ways. Gerrymandering,
Which makes it
all
still
types
more
of
harmful. But go ahead, I got you.
Scoop.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, yeah, don't be talking to my courtroom, man. Come on now.
What's going on here?
You lucky I let you in with that hat.
I don't feel like nobody got smoked. I feel like this was a good back and forth. It was a good tussle.
It was.
It was a good rumble. V came out strong. Scoop replied. I feel like V stumbled a little bit, but then picked it back up with a little Tyson Fury type joint, got back in the game. But then Scotty started talking about the school stuff, and then V brought up her point that she did bring it to modern days. So I vote for B. Scoop. It was shut down.
What the people saying?
I was voting for you, Scoop. They already said Scoop lost. Except for Britt.
Hey. Keith, you're a sellout.
First, all right, now let's think about it. Scoop been talking a lot of ish towards us. Whipping that ass. I've been that. I don't care what you call it. I don't. Now we're gonna talk about it. Since you already lost, Scoop, you should have watched your goddamn mouth when you talking to me.
We won Jim Crow.
Yeah, it was, but guess what? Guess what? Ain't no integration here. It's me and Scotty and V segregating to get y'all. Because and we got our own group message. We was talking about this. It was going damn. Scoop lost.
We need a victory speech.
Go ahead, Venice. You have to say.
This is why you lost.
I'm sorry, Taj. What are you upset about?
Taj, your face is right there.
Because I could have sworn I voted for you more than anybody here. So what are you upset about?
I'm just upset, V, because I'm just waiting on my stimulus check. That's beside
Go ahead. You need to take that anger out on somebody else. As I was saying, I just want to thank God. I want to thank my mom. I hate clocks because I had a lot more to say, but it's fine. Time constraints. Scoop, you gave me a good fight, but it just wasn't good enough. I'm glad you brought that belt. You can pass it to me when you're done. And until next time, thank you so much.
Just one question. Do you want to face Scoop again, or would you want to face anyone else in the group?
Definitely take Scoop again. I'll definitely take Scoop again. Because I feel like one, I don't appreciate Taj being so upset that I won.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. And
Taj is the
two,
truth.
I feel like Scoop is gonna try to argue that he beat me, even though he didn't. So
I won. I definitely won.
well, according to the comments and what
This is the most Trump.
you lost.
This is the
but
most
that's
Trump
fine.
thing.
Because you lost both the popular vote and the electoral college, just so that you're aware. But that's fine.
All you
rematch.
people's in the comments.
So are we saying rematch next week?
Fine by me.
Or do you want to smoke with Taj because he's defecating on your?
No, I'll definitely take Scoop. I'll take Scoop.
Okay.
You didn't take me this week.
What's Taj doing, Keith? What's Taj doing?
Defecating on her victory.
He's
having a hard time with victory. A lot of people will say that it was you were conspiring against Scoop Burgundy because of like stuff like the picture he has in the background. From Keith Center.
See collusion. See what I'm saying? You see what's going on here?
From Keith Center, I want to say, fuck Scoop Burgundy and congrats to me.
See, let me just let y'all know what it is.
You gotta use the government.
They chose me to lose when you're the chosen one sometimes. Let me tell you what Floyd did when he lost the Olympics. He said, I'm going pro because y'all cheating. You know what's going on here.
You should have knocked him out. You should have knocked him out.
I'll bust out more facts. Everything.
I don't know, Snoop.
No, you did not.
I see in the comments that you argue more to Beneath's facts than your own. The comments
you stated was your own little dumbass opinions. Ain't nobody asked for that.
No, didn't.
You threw out Jim Crow like that was supposed to mean something.
Whoa, I threw that out like his sole purpose was segregation. Like that wasn't it.
And Taj,
again, like I said at the very beginning, segregation was not the issue. The lack of resources during segregation was. Taj, what is your beef? Do you want to fight? What is your beef? Do you want to rumble with me after this? What's good with you, Taj? Because I don't appreciate you being so upset about my win.
One second.
Hold on. V just admitted that segregation wasn't the issue. And y'all still voted.
I said that at the very beginning. That was the first thing that came out of my mouth. I said segregation was never the issue. The lack of resources was.
So that's the court, though. The court is segregation.
No, it's not. The court was about integration.
Mm-hmm. It sure was.
Do you know the difference? Like, segregation was never the issue.
As opposed to what?
Order and enforcement.
When we were integrated. We got pushed back even further. Just like I said, our comprehension levels went down after we integrated. The black dollar stopped recycling after we got integrated.
Even further than what? The opposition, which is segregation.
Listen, when we argue, they win. Okay, let's stop arguing. Let's stop arguing, guys.
Spin this here.
Guys,
she fooled y'all. She just sat there and said, "That's not the issue."
Come together.
I literally said that at the very beginning.
It's cool, man. It's cool. I understand when I'm being going against by my own people.
You're acting like Tom Brady.
Yeah, you're acting like Trump.
You're acting like Brady. You're very gracious and stuff when you win, but when you lose, you run off the court. I mean, you run off the field. I just want the people to see the collusion that's going on right here. I'm being Colin Kaepernick. I don't like it.
Who's playing that? Is that cool?
And that's been a whole nother episode of Talk Heavy.
So that wraps up a whole other episode of Talk Heavy. Y'all see how y'all did. You see how they did your boy Scoop Burgundy today, but that's all right. You know what I'm saying? Beyond Waiters can get the ring this week. You know what I'm saying? But next week we're gonna see what's going on. You know what I mean? So with that being said,
wait, one more thing. Oh, Mama Penn said, "Come see her, Taj." She said, "You want her to talk." Come see me. She said, "Y'all need to talk."
I think my big mouth finally got me in trouble.
Nobody can compare, we incomparable.